I'm a very nice, quiet person.
Until you hit a ball.
I have some pictures of stuff if you'd like. Can you guys hear me there?
No, not at all. Pretend they're dogs and holler.
You don't want me to holler when I holler at my dogs. Trust me, you don't want to hear that. I'll move in there in the middle. How would that be?
Yeah, that would be better.
I am from Des Moines, Pennsylvania, actually. I was playing softball in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and there was I played for 2 years. They called them the Harrisburg Roverettes. I played with, and during the war, Wrigley started this All-American Girls Professional Baseball League back in 1943. He was afraid that his ballpark was going to be empty because all his ball players were signing up for the services. So he sent his scouts all over the United States looking for ball players. Well, I was scouted sometime when I was playing softball with the Roverettes, and I got a letter from his office saying I had been scouted. Would I go down to Allentown, Pennsylvania for a tryout for this All-American Baseball League? Well, back east, we had never heard of it. We didn't even know there was a league, and it started in 43, and this was 48, or no, it was 50 when I heard about this. So I went down to Allentown to try out for the league, and as you saw, if you saw the movie, you saw how we tried out. We spent all day playing baseball, one way or another, is what we did. And about 3 weeks later, I got a telegram from Mr. Wrigley's office saying that I had been accepted into the All-American League. Would I go to West Baden, Indiana for spring training with the South Bend Blue Sox? My friend said, well, that's a good idea. But it's from Harrisburg to West Baden. It was an overnight trip. So they told me to get a train, berth in the train. I had never been in a train. The first time I'd ever been in a train was we went down to Hershey, Pennsylvania. We were about 18 miles. We could take the train down there. This was an overnight trip. Well, they got me in an upper berth. I get on this darn train. The porter takes my bag, throws it up in the berth, and says, here you are. I got up in this berth and I sat there all night. I did not get out of this place. I was scared to death. I just sat there and thought, what the heck is going on? Well, finally we got in West Baden in the morning, and the chaperone met me and took me over to this hotel where we were staying for spring training. We got to this hotel. It was just, they make houses bigger than this hotel is nowadays. I mean, it was just a little two-story, cute little thing, you know. And in the middle of it, it had a big fountain. And these old people, I'm saying old people now. Think of me as 20 years old. But these old people were running around with a glass, and they dip into this fountain and drink this water. They were paying good money to do this. We thought they were nuts. It stunk to high heaven. I mean, it smelled. Well, finally I found out it was sulfur water. And these people were drinking this water for their health. But I think I'm going to go see if I can find that place now. Maybe I'll dip into the fountain. It'll do me any good. But it's a thought to touch, right? But anyhow, we took spring training there for 2 weeks. And our spring training routine started out, now I would not be allowed to be dressed like I am today. We had to be in feminine attire at all times. My hair had to be shoulder length at least. We had to be skirt or dress or something all the time in public. In our room or something like this, we could go, you know, jeans or something like that. But in the morning, we would get up and get dressed in our, I call them feminine clothes, go downstairs and have breakfast. Then we'd come back upstairs and put our uniforms on, and we had to run out to the field, which was about 4 blocks away. We spent all morning practicing baseball, you know, working all the different things out. We come back in for lunch about 11 o'clock, but we had to go upstairs, take a shower, put on our feminine clothes again, and come downstairs for lunch. So we had about an hour and a half for lunch. We went back upstairs, put our uniforms on again, and ran back out to the field for the afternoon session. After the afternoon session, we come back in for supper, but we had to go upstairs to take another shower. We were clean. And that was our first week. The second week, after supper, we would go back upstairs, put our uniforms on, and go play an exhibition game, one of the little towns around the area, you know. And after that, we'd come back and take another shower. I don't know how good we were at baseball, but we were clean. We were the cleanest team in downtown. After 2 weeks of that, we would go start working our way up north to our town, where we were going to start our season. And we got up there, and I remember one place we stopped. Back in those days, listen to me, I'm an old lady now, but back in those days, the farmers used to make a field for us. They'd cut out a field, take the thing, whatever it did, and cut the field out. The infield was beautiful, real nice short grass. You could really feel the ball in the infield. But the outfield, they would leave it a little bit long. But the only trouble with that was the cows got to play out there in the mud. Oh, you're way ahead of me, aren't you?
Oh,
Thank you very much. Anyhow, I was an infielder, but I always played infield. Never had played outfield before. So the coach says, well, sis, he says, you're going to play right field. I looked at him like he's some kind of nut. I said, okay. So I went out in right field, and I looked up to the Lord, and I said, now look, I don't like left-handers. I don't like fly balls. Why did you put me out here? He just looked at me and laughed. So, of course, I said, don't bring a left-hander up first batter. First batter up was a left-hander. Oh. And that sucker hit a fly ball right out to right field. Well, I looked up at the fly ball, and I looked down at the field. And I thought, well, where do I step? They saturated the field. It was all over the place.
Oh, no.
And I thought, well, if I drop the ball, the coach is going to yell at me. And if I catch the ball, I won't get on the bus because they won't let me on for the smell. So I caught the ball anyhow and went back in. I don't know if we won the game or lost. I was so involved in this mess in the field. But they wouldn't let me on the bus with my shoes. I had to hang them out the window until we got to the hotel where I could wash them off.
In the salted water.
Water back then. But anyhow, we proceeded on up the roadway, and another place that we stopped was the Dwight Women's Reformatory. You might have heard of it. They wanted us to play an exhibition game in there. Well, to get in this place, they had 3 gates. They unlocked the first gate, you got into the second gate, but you stayed there while they locked the one gate behind you. Then they unlocked the second gate, you got to the third gate, and they unlocked the second gate behind you. And finally, we got out of there, and we went to the office. And our manager and chaperone went into the office and told them that, that we were here, we were ready to play the game. So they took us around to a cell block, empty. I guess it's kind of empty. But to get in the cell block, you had to go through 3 gates, just like you did down the end there. Well, we finally got in. They said, pick out an empty cell, put on your uniforms, and then, come on out. Well, they locked us in the cell. And I looked next to me, and there was a little old lady sitting there in a rocking chair. She was knitting or crocheting or something. I don't know what she was doing. She didn't have a care in the world. But anyhow, we had to wait for them to unlock the doors to let us out of the cells. We got back on our bus. They put a guard on the bus with us. He said, now look, when you get on the field, do not drop a paper, do not drop a gum wrapper, don't drop a pencil, hang on to your bat and gloves and ball. He says, because these inmates will try to get a hold of anything they can to try to make a weapon. Well, we're sitting there all scared to death like this, hanging on to everything we can. And the inmates surrounded the whole field. They had inmates loose all over the field. But they were very nice. They were really nice, and they cheered. Everything they did, they cheered. Bad, good or bad, they didn't know. They just cheered. They were so glad to see somebody, I guess. But afterwards, we went back and changed our uniforms again. And then we had supper with the good ones. So that taught me right then and there, I'm not going into jail. You shoot me first before I get in there. But we finally made our way up to South Bend to start our season. And in South Bend, their ball field, there was a racetrack around the outside of it, and in the middle, it was the ballpark. And we had to go down steps. I mean, it's a crazy setup for a ballpark. But the day before the season started, I got traded to Rockford.
Oh.
And the trains were on strike. I couldn't figure out how I was going to get to Rockford, so I finally brought a bus, found a bus that brought me over here. I got into Rockford at 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody around, and I walked out, and there's a cab out there. I said, well, will you take me to the Lafayette Hotel? And they said, yeah, sure. Well, we drove around for half an hour. I don't know where we were. Finally, I found out later on, after I'd been in Rockford, the hotel was 3 blocks away.
Oh,
Must have been was only fair that night, I guess.
You want company or?
He wanted company, I guess. But anyhow, I got into the hotel, and the next morning, the chaperone came and picked me up. And at that time, we were living in private homes. And I was taken over to the place where a couple that I was going to live with. They didn't have any kids, but they had this great big ugly cat. And I did not like cats back then. But this thing just wanted to cuddle with me. Everywhere I went, this darn cat was around me. But they were the nicest couple, and we just had a ball. I lived with them for 2 years, and they come out to the ball game every night, and we just had a grand time with them. He tried to get me drunk every night to go out to the ball game. I said, if Bill smells liquor on me, I said, I'm out of here. But, I didn't do that. But anyhow, I ended up playing with the Peaches for 2 years, and where was I? I was in Rockford.
Yes, you were.
Thank you. I think I'm in Boyd now. But we had a lot of fun. The year that I played, 1950, we took the championship that year. The Peaches had won 4 championships, 45, 48, 49, and 50. And that's kind of why Penny Marshall made the movie. He chose the Peaches for that. But I heard that she came into town to see if she could make the movie in Rockford. But our stadium was a cement stadium, big long thing, but it just fell apart by then, you know how cement does after years. So she went on down in the end and made the movie down there. But the girls, we were invited down to make the movie if we wanted to go down and be part of it. But they said she filmed 15, 16 hours a day. She was a perfectionist. She wanted, and you could tell by the movie that I think she really did a very good job. It was good, a lot of fun. But, so I gotta get my book here, so I know where I'm heading at. I hit my head the other day and I'm not well. But, oh, here we go. I can't see you. You guys wasn't.
Good thing.
I had cataract eye surgery, both eyes. I can see her over there, but I can't see you there. I can't see anything up close. You know, so anyhow.
Sorry about that.
I am too, trust me. I go to kick the dog and I miss. She's halfway through my speech already. When we were with the Peaches, they used to do different activities, you know, they had just got a new aerial ladder for the Peaches, and they brought it out to the park, and they put this guy, it's about 3 stories high, I think this ladder would go up, and they put a fireman up on top of this thing, and he had a bucket of balls and eggs, raw eggs.
Oh.
And they made us go out there one at a time, and he would drop this ball or an egg. You didn't know what it was till it just about got to you. And we were such macho, we catch everything, you know, boy, you don't miss anything. So we were trying, they sent the veterans out first, thank heavens, because they caught everything. I mean, it made a mess of your glove. Caught an egg. So finally we got wise to this and found out that, you know, forget catching the egg. But they did that for us, and oh, boy. I met my husband the first year. My first year of going out there. Oh, I had a fan. Well, he wasn't really a fan. The guy, he did not like me. And the minute I walked out of the runway, he started screaming at me. Get Waddell out of there. She don't know how to play ball. She sucks. She can't hit. She can't field. She's terrible. Every night I listen to this guy. And so one day I picked up a bat and I said, I'm going to go and talk to him. And they said, you're not allowed to go up in the stands. I said, I just want to talk to him. They said, no, you can't do that. So I started dating my husband, and he working 10, 12 hours a day. So he would come late to the game. He heard this guy yelling at me, you know, so he went over and sat down behind him. And he started in on me as soon as I walked out in the field. He started in on me. And my boyfriend at the time, he tapped him on the shoulder. He says, you don't like Waddell, do you? He says, no, she's no good. Why do they keep her? She can't hit, she can't run, she's terrible. He said, well, I'll tell you. He said, I'm dating Waddell. He said, why don't you and I go down behind the stands and we'll talk about it. Well, my husband had just got off of the farm, or my boyfriend, and just got off the farm where they milked 110 cows twice a day. So he was a pretty good-looking guy. I'll admit that.
That's strong.
I looked at him and said, no, that's okay. So every night my boyfriend then would come into the park, sit behind this poor devil, and he'd pay his money to yell at me. And he couldn't yell at me. I probably should have apologized to him at the end of the season or something. Because he was paying his money and just couldn't yell at me. Poor guy, I felt sorry for him. But then I remember the first time, as a rookie, the first game I played in with the Peaches. He put me in at third base. Now, I usually played second base. Well, third base is quite a throw from, third base to first rather than second base. It's quite a different throw. So the first game, I was down there at third base, and the batter hit a one-hopper to me. I fielded it very nicely, like I should, and I threw it over to Cammie, our first baseman. I one-hopped it to Cammie, and she caught it. We got her out. We come back in. The rookies always sat at the end of the bench, and the veterans were up here. We tried to stay out of the coach's way, So Cammie, I see her walking up there, and I thought, oh, geez, what do I do now? She said, now, sis, she said, just fire it. Fire it as hard as you can. I can catch anything you can throw. Just let me have it. I said, okay, Cam. So we went back out in the field again. They hit me another one. Well, the old adrenaline was pumping by then, but Cammie said to throw it, boy. So I fielded that sucker. And you have to realize, by our stadium, it was like, first base was here. There was a big fence here. And then there was bleachers back here yet. Well, I picked that sucker up. And I fired that thing. It went over Cammie's head. And if you ever saw pictures of Cammie, she's up here like this she's up as high as she can get trying to field this ball. I threw it over her head. I threw it over the fence. I threw it over the bleachers. And I swear they're still looking for that ball. So, in spite of me, we got 3 outs. We come in and take bats. And here comes Cammie walking down at me again. Now, this is a 10-year veteran, and I'm a dumb rookie. And I thought, oh, man, I'm going to catch it now. So she came down, and she put her hand on my shoulder. She says, now, sis, I told you to fire it, but that was just a little high. If I could get it down just a little bit, I think I can catch it. That's all she said to me. She laughed and walked back down the other end of the bench. What are you going to do? One of the crazy things. Another time I was playing second base. My rookie, everything happened to me in my rookie year. I was playing second base. The batter had got on first base, and next guy up hit something to the shortstop, I think it was. And I went over to cover second base, and this girl that was on first base come flying down to second base, but she had her spikes up. She was going to take me out. She was going to teach the rookie a lesson. I'm dumb me. I never knew anybody tried to hurt anybody. So we got out in spite of everything. We got our 3 outs, went in to take bats, And chaperone comes up and she says, sis, are you all right? And I said, yeah, she just scared the heck out of me. I know she scratched me up a little bit. So she got our first aid kit out, and Curacao and Band-Aids, patched me up. And so then my teammates come down to me and said, sis, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I just said I never had a play like that before. He said, that's all right, we'll take care of it. Well, I didn't know what they said. So our girls got up to bat. Dottie Key, our center fielder, she always wore a pigtail down the middle of her back here. Her and Cammie had to call their own plays when they got up to bat. So Ferg called a play, she was on the left field, it's going to be a hit and run. If she put it on her right shoulder, it'd be a run and hit. And Cammie come up to bat. Ferg, she would stand and crowd the plate, just as close to the plate as she could get. She got hit 92 times to get on base. She got a hit or a walk, one or the other. They couldn't get her out. So she got on first base. Cammie come up to bat. And Cammie was, Ferg put it over one of the shoulders, gave us what she wanted to do. Cam says, okay. So Cammie it's her job to protect the runner, so the catcher can't make the play to second base and get her out. Her shoulder, she's going to run and hit. So pitcher throws the ball in. Cammie's hitting or striking at it at least to protect it. Ferg goes down to second base. Her spikes are up. Every time one of our girls got on base and went down to second base, their spikes were up because this girl that had spiked me was the second baseman. She learned real quick, you don't pick on one of our players. So I found out what they said, they would take care of it. But anyhow, I mean, they did, they looked after each other and took care of me, so it was a lot of fun, you know. But then another time we were playing, we noticed Fort Wayne, they were our biggest rivals. And we were beating them 19-6 going into the last half of the night. And they were coming up to bat. Well, Bill decided, our manager decided to put a rookie in, give her some experience pitching. Well, this kid is 16 years old, she was scared to death. She was scared than I was, and I was scared as well. But anyhow, this kid could not get a strike across the plate. When she got a strike across, if she hit it, none of us could field the ball. We dropped it, we threw it to the wrong place, we did everything wrong that you could possibly do. By the time that, we got 2 outs finally, still trying to get out of this game, we finally got beat 20-19. And they broadcast our games back to Rockford at that time. All our town games, they broadcast back to Rockford. Well, everybody had gone to bed by then. We were ahead 19-6. Headline in the paper, Rockford beat 20. I mean, they had a riot in town that day. They were calling the mayor, they were calling the paper, they were calling everybody they could to find out what stupidity is this. They were ahead when I went to bed. But that's some of the fun things we did, you know. But, okay, where are we at here?
The fun things you did.
You really want to know things I did? That'd be more fun than what I'm telling you. I'm just telling you the nice things. We were over at some game, I don't know where it was, but they had dugout was built way down into the field, you know. I could stand there with my chin on that thing, and it was that deep. And all of a sudden it started raining. We started the game, and it started raining. I mean, it was a gully washer. And the umpire says, well, you know, just going in the dugout was probably going to pass right on by. So we went into the dugout, and water was just pouring into the dugout. Well, we took our equipment and put it on the shelf behind us up there, the bench. We put our stuff up on the shelf, and this water kept coming in and coming in. We took our shoes and socks off and tried to put them up behind there. Pretty soon the umpire comes over and he says, I think it's not going to stop. Maybe we'll call it late for night. It's the only dugout I ever had to swim out of. I mean, it was full of water by the time we finally left us get out of there. But, you know, it was kind of crazy. Okay. If I could read my writing, that would help. I must have been a Heidi when I wrote this. Heidi knows my son.
That's right.
How you got stuck with me tonight. So I can tell you truthfully.
Very fortunate to have you tonight.
Do you have any questions you'd like to?
When did you and your husband get married, sir?
1951. I was married for 53 years.
Tell them the story.
Well, I'm telling your story, it's the same thing. No, my husband and I, we started dating. Well, I come back from spring training in 51, and a bunch of us decided we were going to have a hot dog cookout. And we were going to invite some guy. Well, the only guy I knew was Neil, because I'd met him while I was working at Knock Company. So I called him up and I said, you want to go on a weenie roast? He didn't know what a weenie roast was. I thought he was going to roast his weenie. That I just throw in. Don't tell me why I said that. But we went out and had a nice time. We started dating after that. And after 2 dates, he asked me to marry him. I said, you're crazy. I don't want to get married. I'm going to play ball. So he kept asking me. And finally I said, stop asking me. I don't want to get married. Ask me at the end of the season. And then if I want to get married, I'll let you know. So we stopped. We dated the whole season. At the end of the season, a friend of mine called me from South Bend. And she said, Bill's getting a tour of the United States together. Do you want to go? I said, oh, yeah, sure. I'll go. So I told her, and I told my Neil. I said, I'm not getting married. I said, I'm going on tour of the United States. He said, oh, okay. So he said, well, this was a Thursday or Friday or something. He said, well, Saturday's my birthday. Why don't we go out one day before you leave? I said, okay. So we come up here to South Floyd to some country bar down by the river somewhere. I don't know where it was. I don't know where I'm at now. But we went down to this country bar. I love country music. I dearly love it. We were dancing, having a real nice time, you know. He says, why in the heck won't you marry me? I said, oh, hell, I might as well. That's not the only way to get married. Poor guy, he said, well, stay here on one Monday, I'll give you your ring. And then I went home, didn't see him for a month. He come back, we got married, 53 years later, so I guess I did something right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Obviously, you didn't go on the tour, right?
Obviously, I called my friend, I said, I'm not going on tour. I was glad I didn't, because they were playing from town to town, and they'd pass a pot around and raise money, you know. That's how much money they had. Sometimes they didn't get to sleep in a motel, they slept in their cars. Sometimes they didn't get a shower. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of money. So after I learned about the tour, I was just as glad as I didn't go on tour in that one, you know.
So did you play ball after that, or then?
No. Back in those days,
Yeah.
your husband said you either get married or you play ball. And I was a nice little wife, so I
So how long did you play with the Peaches?
2 years. 2 years. 50 and 51. But my mother and my brothers were all screaming at me, you're having too much fun, get married.
Oh.
So I got married. Then I didn't have any fun. No, I had a great husband. We had a good time.
And you have children? You have
I had 2 sons.
2 sons.
I lost my husband in 2004. I lost my youngest son in 2007.
Sorry.
So now I have 3 dogs.
And 1 son.
1 son. My oldest son lives in Roscoe.
Okay.
And he and Heidi worked together. That's how she got a hold of
Oh,
me.
cool.
Years ago.
Years ago.
Wow.
Right after the movie came out.
Was it?
Well, we worked together when the movie came out.
Oh,
And he comes strutting in with his Rockford Peach signature. And I'm like, where did you get that? And he's like, I'm not going to tell. And then he's like, it's my mom. What? Your mom was a peach and we didn't know this? So yeah, he always bragged. It was always sitting in his office. It only took me, 15 years to meet you finally.
Now you know a good thing when you see it.
I see where he gets his sense of humor, though. I see why Neil was such a pleasure to work with. So,
He's a good guy.
mm-hmm.
He takes care of me.
How did you
Good.
get the name Sis?
I have 5 brothers.
Oh.
I'm the baby girl.
Uh-huh.
So my husband said to me one time, he says, why do they call you sis? I don't like that. I said, well, you have 3 sisters. What do you call that? He said, sis. I said, I have 5 brothers. What do you think they call me?
Sis was the good name.
Yeah.
Some of the better ones I've had. After playing ball, that was a good name I had.
That guy in the bleacher or something.
Yeah.
Right. What was the camaraderie like amongst the team?
Well, the veterans stayed together and the rookies stayed together. But the veterans were very nice to us. I mean, they were very helpful. If you wanted help on anything, they would help you, you know. And it was a nice bunch of gals that I played ball with. They had been together, I think most of them from the start of the league in '43. Most of the veterans there.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a good team.
And it was so you said the portrayal of the movie was pretty accurate, including how they portrayed the manager.
I know, the whole time you're talking, I'm thinking about Tom Hanks.
The only problem was with the former ball players who were like Tom Hanks. But the manager we had, he came from California, Bill Ellington, and he played semi-pro ball out in California. He coached women out in California, and then he come back here to coach women. He believed in women playing baseball. For most of these former ball players, you don't know how to play ball.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? You know, and they just didn't. I was loaned up to Battle Creek for a month, and this jerk just sat there and watched us. Well, what'd you do that for? I said, well, you have any suggestion? Well, what's the matter with you? You should know how to do it. I mean, they were really a bunch of prudes. But then we had do you want me to quit or you want to?
No. Oh, you go right ahead.
Unless you want to quit.
No, I'm
But I think you have inquiring minds here, so.
We had jeweler in town. His friend came out from Chicago Sunday afternoon. You know, Rockford was a very dull town then, I guess. I don't know. I never found anything to do in Rockford. I always went somewhere else. But they had dinner together in their house. And after dinner, this guy said, well, what do you do in Rockford? He said, well, there's nothing to do in Rockford. They had Tinker Cottage or some museum or something. He said, well, don't you have a women's baseball team? He said, yeah, but women can't play baseball. He said, what? That's crazy. I'm thinking they can play ball. He said, well, let's go down and watch her play. Some pretty legs. We did have a model. Carol Morris was a model. He said, we'll go down and see some pretty legs. You know, maybe we can laugh at them trying to play baseball. So they came down to the game. This guy became our biggest fan and our biggest sponsor. Them women know how to play baseball. I mean, Wrigley only found, not I'm bragging, but Wrigley tried to find the best that he could to play ball, you know, and put on a good show for people when they came in. And there were some darn good ball players there. This gal that Cammy was telling me about, Donnie Camonshire, she was a left-handed first baseman. That woman, I would put her up against any man first baseman I've ever seen play. Wow. She was good. I mean, that girl could handle anything except that high when I threw her. Other than that, she could handle most of them. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of nice people. Yeah.
Do you think there'll ever be an effort to bring back all women's league again? Or?
We have a baseball team in Rockford now, Starfires. Go on down and see them play next year.
Okay.
Do they play hardball?
Yes, they're playing baseball.
Oh, excellent.
And who do they play against? What other teams?
Unfortunately, the only team is in Chicago.
So there is 2 teams right now.
There's 2 teams.
Where do they play?
Fire Stadium.
Oh, they do play.
Rockford Peaches play 15th Avenue and Seminary.
Yeah?
Yes.
And back east, women's baseball is big. Out west, I hear women's baseball is big. But in the Midwest, there is nothing.
Yeah.
So our guys, we have rebuilt our stadium. We've got a new scoreboard, new dugouts, new backstops. The guys went into Sox Park and learn how to be field managers, you know, how to set the field up, how to make it right. And these 2 guys that are doing this are terrific. They just keep, that field looks beautiful now. I think it's better when we played on it even.
Wow.
But it is nice. And these guys are breaking their butts just trying to get this. This year will be the 3rd year for it.
Oh, okay.
But the only trouble is, the girls are working. They might have husbands, they might have kids, you know, and trying to get them to practice. You can't get them to practice, so they come to play the game. Well, you can't play a game if you haven't practiced.
Right.
You don't have a set position. They just keep moving around from one position to the other. And you just can't, I mean, we won 2 games, I think, last year. But it's lack of, nobody will show up to practice. And I tell them, I said, you've got to practice. Even as dumb as I am, I knew that much.
You're taking ownership of the team by saying we won, so do you go to many of the games?
I'm there all the time.
Awesome.
I think we need to go down next year.
Yeah.
Too.
Field trip.
Yep. Come down, you come down.
Yep.
Bring your lawn chair and come on down.
So what's your turnout as far as the audience that was watching you playing
If
these
you come
games?
down, we'll have a crowd. I tell you, me and the girls are there anyhow.
Good.
We're trying to get more support. Rockford is to me, it's a lousy sports town. You know, the Peaches were lucky to last 12 years, but now we've had all kinds of sports teams down in Rockford. They won't support it.
Yeah.
They think you should come out and pick that, come out and pick me up and bring me up here. That's the attitude I have. But no, they think you should bring them down there, feed them, you know, and then take them home again. Don't charge them any money. They don't want to pay for anything. And you've got, sooner or later, you've got to start paying for things, you know, because our girls, we have some really good, we've got one going 50 years old playing.
Wow.
She's good. She's good. But I haven't been, they started practicing last week or so, but I haven't been down to practice yet to see how they're doing.
So do you recruit?
Mhm.
So how do you recruit? I mean, do people know that you're?
She's recruiting you right now.
I'm gonna stand behind the back. I got an umpire's mask. I can call you out.
Well, we threw an umpire out this year too. Nobody would let play. He was terrible. that's the guys that are working on it. And, if you ever wanna do anything about it or talk to anybody about it, call Greg or Steve, they're really two dedicated guys. But they work hard at it, trying to get us.
So how would we know when the games are?
Is there a website or something?
We have a website, it's, I don't have a computer, so I don't pay attention to it. It's, Friends of Buyer Park.
It's right here. It's, buyer.stadium@hotmail.com.
Buyer,
That's,
B-Y,
so that's a hotmail, that's
That's
the
the
email.
email.
It doesn't give your,
I think it's Friends of Buyer Park.
Buyer Stadium, probably Friends of Buyer Stadium.
It's B-E-Y-E-R?
Maybe we can send an email out.
B-Y-E-R.
Sue,
Yeah,
could you do that?
B-E-Y-E-R.
B-E-Y-E-R.
Okay.
Sue will send that information out to all of us.
It's on, I don't know, like I say, I don't know anything about it. Everybody else does about it. When my son died, I got rid of all that crap, because every time I did something wrong, I'd yell at him, and he'd yell at me.
Oh,
Didn't you say that the movie was pretty accurate?
We did things we weren't supposed to do. One night, we were up in Racine. I think it was Racine or Kenosha, one of the other teams here in Wisconsin. And we went out for a meal with the other team, you know. Well, number one, you're supposed to stay in town. Number two, you're not supposed to go state line. Number three, you're not supposed to be in a tavern that doesn't serve food. And number four was curfew. Well, I broke all four of those that night. And then we came back, and we stopped at a stoplight, and some guy rear-ended us.
Oh, no.
And we're all past curfew already. We told the cops who we were, but they, let us get to our hotel and we can sneak in. Well, cops wouldn't let us. They took us down to the police station. We were trying to call our manager or our chaperone. Well, we couldn't get a hold of either one of them till 5 o'clock that morning. This was 2 or 3 o'clock that night. We kind of figured these two were together somewhere. We never did catch heck for it. They never called us out on it. Why, we were out that late or why the police station. Never heard a word about it.
Because they were together.
They got caught.
You can assume what you want, that's what we assume. What assume makes you, okay. But, I broke the rules a few times, yeah.
Well, you were in the right place to break the rules
I was.
that evening.
We had a lot of good times.
That's good.
Got any other
Well,
questions?
Marge here, she went out and rented the movie.
Just to catch back up, it's been years since I've seen it.
It's sure on TV all the time. It's on TV all the time. It's still, what is that station? Somewhere. Everybody says, I saw you last night.
Now, which girl were you?
They just took the whole league as a whole. And we were inducted into the Hall of Fame out in Cooperstown, New York.
I was just gonna ask you what that was.
Yeah, I saw that.
That town had closed up for the evening, for the winter. End of September, I think all the businesses close up, they go to Florida for the winter. Well, this was in November the 5th, I think it was, they inducted us into the Hall of Fame. We opened that town back up because we were coming in by the busloads.
What year was that?
88.
Oh, 88.
And we went out there, I was out there for that, and it was quite a deal. Because they wouldn't allow any women into their Hall of Fame, Cooperstown.
Well, that is a
Yes.
Yay.
So the Rockford Peaches were entered into the Hall of Fame, or
No,
all the
league.
women?
The
The
whole
whole
league.
league.
They took the
Yeah.
names of every ball player that we could find. And there's a big board in there with your name on it. And I'm the first W, Waddell. I'm the first W in the big order. But it was quite a ceremony, it was a lot of fun. But we do, the town only has 1 or 2 motels in it. And one big hotel, and 1 or 2, one down by the lake. And one I had to stay out of town, a couple miles out of town, find a place to stay. So I took my husband and my son out there one time, Cooperstown, to see it, And we went to one hotel, and it was full, so we went down to one by the lake. And it was a cruddy thing, it was, and my husband, the guy charges a couple $100, I think, for a room for one night.
Oh,
Wow.
And my
Back
husband
then.
says, what? Well, I won't tell you what he said. It wasn't very nice. He cussed
Wow.
the guy up and down. it was a great thing, so there was nothing there. There just wasn't anything in that hotel. Just the first hotel. Because they never got a crowd like that, I'm sure, all summer long. Even the Hall of Fame, they get the visitors. They live in the mountains. I mean, you better like mountains when you go up there. We were driving there, and my husband, I'm Pennsylvania, there's mountains out there. I was up in the mountains all the time. And my husband started driving down through the mountains. He says, I can't do this. I can't stand it. You drive. Didn't bother me. I mean, just going like this and up and down.
You're good, aren't you? You're in your mountains.
Yeah.
You said your
Yeah.
husband, when you were dating, he worked on a farm?
He did to start with, and then he came into town and worked in National Lock Company.
Okay, so he didn't own a farm, you didn't grow up,
Yeah,
you
they
lived on
owned
the
the farm. They had a,
but you didn't live on the farm then?
no.
Okay. Okay.
They had, I don't know if you know where that big farm is in Belvedere. They had these two lions up in the entrance of it. It was a big farm, 1,000 acres or something like that they had. And him and his brothers farmed out there.
Is that on Highway 20 going out?
No, it's that other road that goes out there.
Newburgh Road?
I don't know what the name of it is anymore. It's been so long.
Yeah, State Street it might be.
Yeah, I was gonna say State Street maybe. I don't know.
It still have the lions on the
State
gate?
Pardon me?
Still has the lions on the gate?
I don't know if it's still there anymore or not, because I think they've broken it up, probably subdivision by now.
Yeah.
Everything else is subdivision,
Right.
right?
Great. Is there anybody you keep in touch with from
Not
that you
really.
played with? No.
We have a reunion every year. They
Okay.
just had a reunion down in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They were down there. It's usually a 3 or 4 day reunion. Next year it's gonna be over in South Bend.
Oh,
We had one here in 2007 in Rockford. That's the only one I've gone to. I don't see the old fat ladies. What's the matter with you?
I don't know, it sounds like fun to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna find that place. We lose a lot, 5 or 6 girls every year. We lose a lot.
Do you know how many are left now?
No, not really.
Okay.
When they came to Rockford for the reunion, there was 70 there. And I heard this reunion, there's only about 35 there.
Are there any other Peaches besides you?
In Rockford?
Anywhere?
Oh, yeah, they're all over there. There's some left in the United States, there's some out in Pennsylvania. There's one gal that I used to hang out with, she's in Michigan.
Oh.
She's got dementia.
But you're the only one in Rockford?
No, there's Bobby Thompson. She stays here and excuse me.
It's my cooking. I'm so sorry. I told you I can never cook again.
That cheap water you gave me.
Could be.
She promised me a beer and all she gives me water.
She's a storyteller.
My son told me about you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to be on YouTube, I believe.
Yeah, it might be. Might be. We'll edit it. We'll edit a few things out.
Yeah, but edit what you're gonna do there, please.
Going back, I know we're talking about reunions now, but I'm still curious, how did you become such a good baseball player that you could be a Peach?
I was a tomboy.
Five brothers.
brothers, yeah?
We had brothers. And we had, when I was a kid, down the end of the street, we had an empty lot. And somebody ended up with a bat or a ball, we'd go down the street and play ball every day, you know. But we never, in high school, the only thing we had was basketball, half-court basketball. That's the only sport for women there. Till then, like I said, they put me in the paper for Minnesota softball team over in Harrisburg. That's where Rigby's scout found me, I guess.
I used to play a lot of ball too, but I never was good enough to be a Peach. I think there's some physical thing, and when you shook my hand when we
Oh,
greeted,
yeah, that's the best
I'm like,
handshake
oh my
ever.
word, I can see where she had the strength to do this.
Well, when I get to meet little kids, they come up with a little handshake like this, you know, give me a little thing like this. I said, look, you look me in the eye, and you take a hold of my hand and you shake it. One of those girls, she's scared to death of me. I said, look, I'm telling you now, you look me right in the eye, and you shake my hand like you mean it. This little kid walked away, boy, she
Yeah, if anybody didn't get to shake her hand, shake her hand.
Yeah.
The most awesome handshake ever.
when we started playing, you get tired of me talking, just tell me something.
We'll be here.
When the league started,
Mhm.
it started out as a 12-inch softball, underhand pitch like this. And then in 47, they went to sidearm. I think maybe that would improve the game and do something a little better. Well, that wasn't any better. So,
But that was considered a hard ball, right?
no, it's
Was
hard.
softball?
You get hit with it, you know it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
This is about the size ball that we ended up playing
Oh.
when I was playing. And then this is what our girls are playing with now, regulation baseball. So, this is what we played, and this is what they're playing with now. There's a big tournament over in Japan. They have a big women's baseball tournament. And Memorial Day out at Washington, they have a big tournament, women's tournament. Our girls went out there the last couple of years just for the experience. And no good, but they got some experience out of it anyhow, you know. Then they've invited me out there next year. I said, what for? But anyhow, we're hoping that we can get some of our girls going, get a baseball team going. So come on down and see them. Right, kind of baseball is we will.
How fast did you throw?
I was an infield.
She wasn't
Well,
a
when,
pitcher.
but when you threw to the base, put somebody out.
I had a
She
pretty
said-
good arm
Okay.
back then. Now I throw like a girl. You know, one time, I was going to church there, and they asked me to coach the girls softball team. I said, okay. So we got out there. First night of practice, these girls come out and throw like this. I said, you know, you throw like girls. I was insulting them. I mean, I really meant it. He said, but Mrs. Wyatt, we are girls. It was a long season. I said, let's just play and have fun. Let's not try it. You never won a game. Let's just have fun. You know, that's all you can do then. And I had about one or two good ball players. So that would take care of that. I think. Anything else you want to know?
Yes, very much.
Thank you so much.